Every sound we make, our accent, our pronunciation, our tone, our pitch, even our posture and how we hold our heads shape and constantly redevelop our face. It sounds crazy, but in this video I'll explain the exact logic behind why I believe this quite firmly. And while there isn't a perfect accent or language, and while I'm not trying to make everyone the exact same, there is a proper way to speak, there is a proper nervous system state, there is a proper posture, there are natural habits that are ingrained in us, and in the modern world, I'll explain how we've deviated away from these things and how the best versions of ourselves can be attained exceptionally easily, and how this is a massive path and breakthrough towards that point. And for reference, I did transform myself from this to this, not only shifting my face upwards and forwards, but tightening it, improving my posture, improving my sleep apnea, my breathing, a lot of health issues I previously had, while also improving my Lisp, my pronunciation, and realizing that the two go hand in hand. And we now have thousands of transformations in the world's largest health-based paid community. So the first key thing to understand, and for reference, this may blow a lot of minds, so stay tuned because this video is quite literally gold dust. You won't see any videos on this topic because I honestly don't think anyone's really spoken about it before. We speak the most complex language as animals. Our speech, our complex language, is exceptionally intricate. It's much more complicated than people realize. And because we do it so often, because I'm speaking right now and you're listening and you'll speak to a friend and you'll speak to your family, it becomes so natural to us. And these things that we do so often, we forget the power and importance. Every word we speak, we're using the tongue, the larynx, the facial muscles, our airways, our breath, our lungs to create these perfect sounds so that we can communicate with complete clarity. So while chimpanzees technically have a tongue and muscles in their face, they don't make such intricate sounds, and their tongue and nervous system don't play such a specific role. It's essentially our superpower, if I think. I think the true power of humans in general is communication. I think that's how we're able to build and develop as efficiently as we have. And so our speech is literally our superpower, and reframing it in that way is the most important step to understanding how not genetic everything is. I know that's a terrible wording, but just how much of a fallacy exists in the world. So we have this unique pattern that creates our speech. Other animals don't quite have it the same. And we also know that the tongue shapes our face. This is clearly shown in science. The tongue from birth, resting on the roof of the mouth, shifts the maxilla upwards and forwards. The maxilla, which is the bone in the center of your skull, determines how the rest of your face develops. It encourages counterclockwise rotation, which is the process of the face coming upwards and forwards. And these are the features we find attractive. We see them in models, not because of superficial beauty, but because they're signs of health. The tongue resting on the roof of the mouth relaxes the nervous system. It provides a signal to the fascia. It improves body posture. It opens up the airways so we can breathe through the nose and expand the palate. These things are attractive because they're healthy. And so we can see that using our tongues to speak as I am right now will, over time, because we're doing it 16,000 times per day roughly, this turns into millions of times over the course of our childhood, is absolutely reshaping our face, especially when you realize that the tongue can provide 600 grams of force and it takes less than 20 grams of force to shift a tooth. So if we're pronouncing words differently, if the tongue rests low, if we have a lisp, if we have improper posture which changes the tone and pitch of our voice, this is changing our faces. And as a result, it's shifting our health, because attractiveness is the best indicator of health, in my opinion. I think if someone has a wide palate, a good structure, the reason we put such things on a pedestal in the modern world, the reason that people at any age spend so much money and time trying to get back their youth and their beauty, is because it is one of the best indicators of true health. We don't need to look at blood work, we don't need to look at a diagnosis, we can know it instantly because it's attraction. It's how we're biologically developed. We know and find these features attractive because it's hardwired within our biology. So we understand this about speech, we understand this about the tongue. Now let's take it a step further, and I'm going to provide some practical information that everyone can use to apply this within their own lives, and as a result feel and look instantly better. So stay with me. What I'd like everyone to do is just play around here. Say some sounds, say some letters with me. Let's say the letter T. What happens to our tongue? It hits what we call in myofunctional therapy the T-spot, right here. This is the incisive papilla. This is the front of the palate. And so if people can't pronounce the letter T properly, then the tongue won't provide enough pressure to that point, which as a result is linked to the nasion, the way the front of the face develops. Now let's say the letter K, like K. Your tongue's hitting the roof of the mouth, but it's not hitting the T-spot. It's hitting the back of the palate, the back of the soft palate, which is fascinating. Again, to make a different sound, our tongue hits the different roof of our mouth. We stimulate the fascia around this entire airway complex differently. And these patterns, these slight signals, if you understand how complicated and beautiful the human body is as a creation, of course they're making an impact. Now, we can go to how I used to speak when I had a lisp, which was like lith. My tongue would fall in between my teeth. And you can see this point, the tongue isn't hitting the roof of the mouth, it's getting stuck between the teeth. We should say the letter S, and the tongue should be slightly between the teeth at points, but it shouldn't get stuck there. We should be able to pronounce these words like sa, sa, s. If it falls between the teeth, that could then make people more inclined to holding their tongue in between their teeth, which can create things like an open bite, can shift the way your teeth develop. And we know that an open bite will prevent the teeth from touching, prevent proprioception, which is how your body stabilizes itself, and shape your body posture and shape your patterns of movement differently. If your movement changes, your athleticism changes. You maybe develop knee pain a bit quicker when you're older. This forces your body to compensate, your spine to collapse. Maybe your scoliosis gets worse, your head tilts forward, your tongue falls even further off the roof of the mouth. We develop issues, and then we look in treating things symptomatically without realizing just how interconnected the body is. So we pronounce these words and sounds differently, and obviously people have different accents, and these things are natural, cultures are beautiful, different expressions are amazing, but we should have clarity when we speak. We should have clear pronunciation, and the tongue should be able to have the musculature and the fascial connections to do its job efficiently. The easiest thing I can recommend is just understanding how your posture first interacts this entire system. If we understand that the tongue hitting the roof of the mouth is linked to this entire airway complex, then we can comprehend that neck posture, this changes the tone of my voice. It changes the way my tongue works. If we speak like this, we change our tone as well. We change our pitch. You can feel the vibrations working differently through this entire complex. So the easiest thing is understanding there is a correct posture. We should be back chain dominant. We should have our head slightly forward. We should take the pressure off our neck. We should be able to breathe backwards into the faces and allow the rib cage to expand. So look at this image on the screen, mimic this posture, and make sure you're replicating it. And the easiest time to focus on it is while you're eating, because we're swallowing and chewing. Swallowing shapes tongue posture from birth. This is the habit that shapes our tongue on the roof of the mouth. If we're not breastfed, if we're formula fed, we don't have a proper suction with the tongue. If we suck on our thumbs, this creates a barrier between the tongue and the teeth. Maybe that's why, and again, I'm not saying this with 100% conviction. In my mind, I am, but I have to say that, you know, for YouTube and things, maybe people who suck their thumbs or overly use pacifiers, as a result, this increases the likelihood of getting a lisp. This increases the likelihood of worsened posture. This changes the shape of the teeth. This changes the way the sounds are created. And this can even impact, I mean, think about how this can even impact singers or musicians or people that express themselves through this way. And also maybe it's why it's so powerful. Hearing things, music and sounds are the way that we work, because we operate off frequency, but that's for later in the video. So getting back to the point, we need to have proper posture and we need to breathe backwards. Imagine that the nasal cavity is longer horizontally than it is vertically, which it is. So funnel the air backwards into the face. If I tell you to breathe through your nose, everyone goes like this, they puff their chest out, they try and breathe into the top of their heads. Breathe backwards into the face. Allow your body to relax, your rib cage to expand, and imagine and feel just how much clearer the breath travels. It's insane, because we have filters in our nose arranged horizontally, not vertically. Meaning that if we don't breathe horizontally backwards, we decrease nitric oxide uptake, we decrease circulation throughout the body, we change the way that the cervical fascia releases, we change the way that the tongue rests on the roof of the mouth, because these two structures are connected. If you raise your right arm, you put your body in this direction. If you move your head up and your tongue falls down, your neck posture shifts. Everything is connected. Say it with me, everything is connected. Remember this, because this is mind-blowing. If you're clicking off this video, if you're not even comprehending this, wake up, because this is a crazy moment in the eternity of the world. I mean, these concepts are crazy if you really think about this. How do we mimic speech? How do we learn speech? We copy it off of those around us, and that's the next point. How do you learn your accent? Why do cultures have the same accents and language? Why do people express the things the same way? Why do Spanish people roll their R's? Why do Russian people have tighter consonants? Why do Japanese people have different sounds? Why do English people have slightly different use of the tongue compared to Americans that speak the same language? What are these slight indiscrepancies? How do we learn these accents? We copy them off of our parents. We copy them off of the people around us. We mimic their expressions and we copy their accents. And as a result, we copy their tongue posture. And in some way, we mimic their facial structure because we understand that the tongue shapes the face. You've seen photos online of a father making a face and then the baby copying the same expression. And this is natural. We learn off of mimicry. We don't know, we don't come out of the womb speaking. We swallow, we begin to use the tongue, our nervous system begins to develop, and then we speak. Do you see these patterns that get created? And so we're told everything's just genetics. We're told as we get older, our face is meant to sag down, we're meant to develop wrinkles. We're told that when we're younger, we just look like our parents because we inherit the same genes. Well, maybe it's not so limited. I'm not saying this is 100% everything. I'm saying at least understand there's some nuance here. We know that tennis players with their dominant arm develop thicker bones on that side. We understand that some people who unfortunately suffer strokes and can't use their muscles, their posture collapses and their bones adapt and shift. We know these things, so why can't it be the other way around? Why can't function impact structure just as structure impacts function? It's the same concept. We're doing it repeatedly and we're shifting things. With that being said, it's a really interesting thing to think about. Just conceptualize it. Stay with me. Understand this. Look at different cultures, copy different accents and languages, and feel the way that the muscles get expressed. This is with all due respect to every single culture, by the way, so if anyways this is somehow offensive, then I deeply apologize. But let's say the letter U, let's be French, right? U, right? O-U, U. We're saying this word, we're pouting our face, we're overactivating this orbicularis oris muscle, okay? We're changing the way that it interacts with the structure. And we only have a certain amount of tension within the face that can get distributed. It's like a seesaw. One side gets up, the other side gets pulled down. So if we're overusing this muscle, other muscles get shifted, tension changes, it propels into this direction, and the rest of the body shifts. And we know this even further because let's say that, well, it's not even, let's say this is a fact. The hyoid bone and the deep front line, which is a fascial line, the fascia, the connective tissue that runs throughout the body that weighs 22 kg, connects from the feet all the way up to the tongue, to this hyoid bone. So we know that the rib cage, the pelvis, the neck area are all interconnected. We understand that if this muscle gets overactivated, we take pressure off of this system, we shift the tension, and as a result, we're shifting our entire body posture, the way we hold ourselves, the way we breathe, and the way we breathe is then changing the way we speak further. We breathe into the lungs to even be able to create the sounds that we are creating. Then we can look at other languages. You can play around with this with yourself. I'm going to refrain from doing too much more because it will just be an insult to all of the beautiful cultures, but it's fascinating when we view it from this perspective. Maybe cultures looking similar isn't, again, just genetics. Obviously, hair color and skin color and these things will be differentiated. I don't think I can go blonde by saying the letter K tomorrow. However, I do believe that these patterns shape our facial muscles, they shape our facial structures, and over time we mimic these habits. We've seen cultures, parents, and their children that grow up in a different country and speak a different language, they end up looking slightly different. Equally, in the past, there was some slight interesting research which should have been pushed more about adopted children looking like their adoptive parents. So if a child isn't actually genetically related to someone, but they spend loads of time around them while they're developing as a baby, they mimic their habits, they mimic their expressions, and in some way, shape, or form, they end up looking slightly alike. Fascinating concept. Maybe this applies to some of you. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm really fascinated on people's perspectives and I really enjoy talking to people. I talk about it with people in our private community every single day. I see people transforming, saying that their speech becomes clearer as they train the muscles in their face, saying that as they fix their knee pain, their neck posture shifts. It's revolutionary, it's amazing, and I'm so excited to be spreading this mission together. This isn't my thing. I don't view it in that way, shape, or form. My mum's involved, my sister's involved. There's 7,000 plus people in the community. And by the way, if you do want more routines, if you do want more personalized information, if you're fascinated, if you want to become the best version of yourself, I believe that anyone can fix anything by working with themselves only. You can join the private community, QR code on the screen, link in the description. I urge everyone to do it, not for the sake of just peddling some scheme, but for the idea of creating a genuine community where everyone can be involved, where everyone's centered around one thing, where everyone has the incentive, they've actively joined, they've actually committed themselves, they've given something to join, and then they can do the routines, have accountability, earn this, and understand this with true eminence. If the issue I have with watching these videos and hearing me speak and listening to it is you go off, you watch other videos, your opinion shifts as other people say different things. You shouldn't trust me, you shouldn't trust anyone else, you trust your intuition. intuition, you trust your logic. Everything is ingrained within us. Communication is the greatest power we have. We know this through speech. Our words impact other people. Have the gut instinct, this gut intuition, which we talk about, which again lies in the fascia, I think, but listen to yourself, listen to your body, allow your nervous system to dictate your actions. Don't allow other people and stress in your environment to do it. So take action, don't just listen to these videos. Work with your body, the vessel from which life comes, and that's the only way that people can truly then have the outcomes they want. People aim to look more attractive, not to do it for themselves, but by understanding that it's a sign of health. The healthier we are, the more present we can be, the more we can help people around us, the more we can positively impact the world, and the better everything flows and functions. And so that is the true purpose, that's the operation that we need to level from. If you want, you can join the community. Let's get into the next point, which is where things heat up even further. Okay, so we've talked about humans speaking differently to other animals and having this intricate motor system which forms these sounds. We've talked about some different letters and sounds you can make and pronounce. We've talked about briefly different accents and cultures. I've mentioned you should have proper posture. I've mentioned you should breathe backwards. I've mentioned that you should just consider and look around the people around you and understand the extent to which you copy their expressions. Use it as a sign of endearment. We know when we're around people we like, it's also been shown that we smile more, we copy their accent, we copy their mannerisms slightly to kind of warm them up, to make them happy. So also keep this in mind. Understand who you are, understand everything, embrace who you are, embrace your culture, but have pronunciation, have clear pronunciation, have proper posture. And this moves on to the next point, which is a bit more practical, a bit more grounded. I'd like everyone to 100% begin focusing on this hyoid area. So this hyoid bone is one of the bones, and the most important in my opinion, that shapes how attractive our jaw is. But it's the only bone in the body not connected to any other, meaning that it's mostly supported by muscles and fascia. And as a result, if we train the muscles and fascia, it shifts the hyoid bone. You'll see that everyone with a lisp, and I can say this because I had one, has a double chin. They have skin under their jaw. You'll know that if your tongue's on the roof of the mouth, the skin under your jaw becomes tighter, and so it's linked directly to speech here, and this hyoid area is exceptionally important. So what I'd highly recommend everyone do, and by the way, sorry if the light on my face is slightly shifting, the sun's having a bit of a panic attack today. So we should all train the tongue, the fascia, and the muscles around this area to tighten the skin under the jaw, to improve how attractive our jaw is, to improve our speech, and to improve our health. Because again, it's not natural to have your tongue low on the roof of the mouth. And what I'll get to in the next point is that the tongue provides a signal to the rest of the body to be in alignment. It's honestly the most important thing for health. This is my genuine belief. The most important thing anyone can do for their health is put their tongue on the roof of their mouth. I actually think it's the culmination of everything that everyone does. I think diet hydrates the fascia. I think breath hydrates the fascia. And obviously, take this with a bit of nuance. If we stop breathing, we stop living. So, don't make that point. But diet, breath, sunlight, movement, hydrate and act the fascia. The fascia, it connects the physical to the mental. This all allows the tongue to express ourselves, to create speech. Speech allows the greatest human gift, expression and communication. Speech represents the thoughts and things within us. They express our mind, our consciousness. And as a result, the tongue is the thing most interconnected with this entire system. It shapes your posture, your speech. It expresses yourself. It shapes your face, our beauty. Beauty can seem superficial, but it's one of the greatest indications of true health. So let's go back. Everyone should stretch their tongue. You can take a towel, stretch your tongue out to the front, left and right. You can try some different exercises. I have some on the screen, and I have a lot more again in the private community, proper routines to follow along with and test. It's much more powerful if you stretch your tongue and then work with your body and do things in perfect unison rather than just doing things in isolation. Otherwise, again, you won't work with your body as a system. But try and play around with these exercises as a beginning point. And secondly, I think that everyone should practice this basic suction. It's exceptionally important. Firstly, we're going to say the letter C. K, k, k. Feel your tongue hitting that point on the roof of the mouth and say it 10 times. K, 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 k. Then say the letter T. I didn't say it 10 times, by the way, but let's say the letter T now a few times. T, 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 t. Now you can feel the two spots that your tongue is hitting. It needs to suction to both of them and cover the entire area. So what we're going to do is say the letter K, k, t. Put your tongue on the roof of the mouth. Smile as wide as possible. And swallow as many times in a row as you possibly can until you can't anymore, okay? So it's a challenge. See if you can beat me. Okay, I could have done one more, but that's just allowing someone to win and feel good about themselves. So if you beat me, it doesn't count, but 5 solid. Okay, so That should suction the tongue to the roof of the mouth. You should feel it. You should feel the skin under your jaw tightening. You should feel your posture improving. That's not just happening in your neck area. That's shifting the deep front line that connects all the way down. You're opening up your diaphragm. You're shifting your pelvis alignment, and you're changing the entire structure. Do that at least 6 times per day. It's not hard to do. It's kind of fun if you make it into a game. Set little alarms on your phone. You know, you can call them, what's a good word? Okay, well, you can see that the length of this video is starting to get to me, but we're picking up the energy. Oh, I just cut myself and okay. Whew. Calm down. Okay, what we're going to do is call them mum alarms, because my mum is in the other room still sleeping. So we're going to call them mum alarms. Okay, everyone love your mother. Set at least a couple of alarms throughout the day. Remind yourself to keep your tongue on the roof of the mouth. Create this suction. It's exceptionally important. It's the foundation of everything. You won't be able to just keep your tongue on the roof of the mouth naturally. You need to do everything else to feed into this, and that's what the system's doing. Okay, so we're tackling this area through those exercises. You can also stretch the area. So turn your head, against the ceiling, stretch your neck, perform neck curls. Like this. You can perform chin tucks. Don't provide limited exercises, so try and keep your body flowing and moving. Try and turn your body while you turn. That's why turning your head to one side, sticking your tongue to the other, for example. Engaging these different systems and feeling that when you stretch your tongue, you feel the rest of your body. Being conscious of that, understanding it, allows you to have conviction, allows you to do it all properly. This will shift the hyoid area, improve your speech, improve your jawline, improve your posture, and really progress things to the next level. Also, in the meantime, as I like to do throughout the videos, here are some transformations on the screen of great testimonials. Here are people who are 50+ years old, people who are even older, people improving their wrinkles, their jawline, their speech, releasing tension within their bodies, fixing things like sleep apnea, image on the screen, fixing their posture, improving the proportions and balance within their face, improving their skin, doing all of these things naturally, and we have thousands of transformations now, and I'm ever so proud of everyone, including all of you watching the video as well. Anyone that's doing the techniques, feeling better and feeling within themselves. I'm so privileged and proud, and again, I can encourage everyone to keep doing it, to keep being consistent, to keep spreading their transformations, to get really stuck in, to consume the videos, and to get into this. I believe that it's the highest and most important leverage thing that anyone can do within their lives. Even if you're the 3rd female CEO of the multi-billion-dollar corporation, or you're, you know, the great-grandfather of 15 young'uns, all of these things are absolutely important, and I think at any time, at any age, it will improve your longevity. You'll buy back your time instantly because you'll sleep better, you'll breathe better, you'll live more efficiently, you'll look better, get more opportunities, be more present, be healthier, and you'll take into account some information that I believe that no one has truly understood or processed yet. I think this is the tip of the iceberg. There's much more to this, and I think this is the next wave of the entirety of life. It's not about hacking, it's about recorrection, understanding that everything was made perfectly, understanding we're meant to have our tongues on the roof of the mouth, understanding we're meant to embrace different accents and cultures, but also realizing that we're meant to all be human first and foremost. And so fascia is made perfectly. We're meant to be breastfed. We're meant to crawl. We're meant to do these things. And this is about recorrection. And these techniques are a representation of that. So keep that all in mind. Before we move on to the next point, and this is where it gets saucy, everyone who doesn't care and is an insult to not watching this video has clicked off, and all of the legends are truly here. So shout out to you guys. Let's talk about body posture and how this impacts the face. I mentioned the deep front line connecting to the tongue and this entire area, but you'll see that if you go to Italy and someone's speaking, they have these same hand expressions. If you go to another culture, they kind of speak the same way. They have the same body posture. Not only do they speak and express themselves the same way, they have the same posture. And where does this come from? Obviously, we mimic posture and habits, but first and foremost, our tongue being on the roof of the mouth, again, is the epitome of how we express ourselves, not through our posture. Our speech is key. And so we can make the argument that our posture follows our speech. Our tongue hitting the roof of the mouth connects different fascial lines. It creates different tension throughout our body. As a result, our body moves in different ways to express ourselves. Again, a really fascinating insight, but something to keep our minds on and something to be conscious of. Remember, we should not have duck feet. Our feet shouldn't point out. They shouldn't be in this position, because then the knees cave in, the pelvis tips forward, the spine compensates, and we fall into this forward head posture. So understand expression and body posture and how it interlinks, but also understand what perfect posture looks like. The back part of our body generates up to 80% of our power. Every athlete, every healthy model moves in this way. The people that live the longest and have best posture don't stand up straight like pencils. That's incorrect. They stand with a back chain dominant stance, and this can be trained and used. Sit in the floor and seiza position. Take something from the Japanese culture. They're ahead of their times. Take things from other cultures. There's definitely cultures that primarily choose to walk around barefoot more. Walk around barefoot. Don't let shoes act as a barrier between the ground and your feet, forcing excessive comfiness, and as a result, your feet and fascial connections to become weaker. take things in mind. You learn from other cultures and admire the beauty, and admire the intersection between them all, and understand, what proper posture looks like. From there, we're going to connect the entire body to the palate, to the speech, to shift everything. Okay, so we're going to perform one-sided thumb pulling. Take your thumb, place it here, place it on the middle of your palate, stand up straight. You can stand against the wall, you don't have to, and twist to one side. Again, video on the screen. This is activating the entire body and shifting the energy all the way from the floor, straight up into the face, into the palate, connecting the entire chain, releasing the tension on your palate, because when the tongue rests low in the roof of the mouth, you develop tension on the palate itself, which needs to be released. And so we're releasing the fascia, decompressing the sutures expand, breath improves, system improves, and then we are absolutely cooking. So there is a quick few more tips. And I've just thought of one brilliant point that I'd like to go over exceptionally quickly, which is also the nervous system. Okay, this is the final key to all of it. When we speak, we have different nerves within our body which connect to our nervous system. So we have the facial nerve. When we speak and use our facial muscles, these are activating some. The soft palate and the kind of larynx are connected to the vagus nerve, which a lot of more people will know about. The tongue is connected to, let me remember the name, the hyoglossus nerve, I believe. And so all of these are providing different signals to our body and to our nervous system, and they're shifting tone, they're shifting the state we're in. And this goes into a really fascinating point, which is just think about how your speech changes when you're stressed, when you're tired. Think about your voice breaking when you're sick and your body collapses. Think about when you're exceptionally nervous and your voice cracks. This isn't just, luck or puberty for some people. This is also about expression. So think about it logically, where our thoughts and how we experience the world are stored within our mind. Our speech shares our mind and our thoughts. And so if we're nervous and we hunch over and our voice changes and shifts and it goes high and it curves up at the end, how is this not only unique to us, but how is it the way that we're interpreting and experiencing the world and expressing ourselves, okay? A fascinating point to understand. If we're stressed, our breath becomes more shallow, our speech becomes faster. We start speaking really quickly like I do sometimes because I want to express the point as quickly as possible without people understanding what I'm saying. If we're angry, we clench our jaw and I get really angry like this. Shifting our voice, creating more sound to maybe feel heard, etc. I'm not a therapist and that's not what I want to go into. It's about understanding that emotions and these things are also stored in the way we express ourselves. And this is the massive intersection between us as humans living, becoming the best versions of ourselves. This is where health truly lies. We are people in human bodies experiencing the world, not the other way around. I think I said that before. I had a better way of phrasing it beforehand, but my mind's starting to go a bit numb from talking. So understand that the body is how we experience the world. We work with the body ourselves. We work inside ourselves to then feel other people. Remember that you can't have someone else put their hands on your face. You can't have external devices that don't feel your body truly change things. Your tongue shifts the structure. Your thumbs are connected to your nervous system. Don't fall for lies. Convince yourself of the truth because it's natural. Understand how things actually work. Understand that our tongue can provide enough force. Understand that anything foreign to our nervous system doesn't actually tackle the root cause, doesn't work with us, and understand how this all intersects. Beauty, health, identity, expression, all of these things are one system. They're one unique thing. Our mind controls our body. Maybe we're the physical representations of how we see ourselves. It's an interesting note. It's something that maybe I'll make more videos about in the future. But on a practical level, don't get stuck in thought, take action, have accountability, have a direct plan, go for it, crush it, and just become the best version of yourself as quickly as you can. And you'll understand through discovering your own unique parts and discoveries. I don't need to lecture people. Many of you are probably older than me watching this, so I don't need to tell people things that they already know. I just want to provide my unique perspective, and it'll be interesting to see how things progress over time. But I can say this with conviction. My mum is a great testament to this, my sister, so many people within the community, so many amazing people who are willing to learn, who are willing to spread this message even further and positively impact the world. We're creating a movement. The movement being, the mission being, say it with me, health is looks. Perfect. I hope this was an interesting video. It's a fascinating concept. It's something that I fully, really believe in. Food for thought. I hold myself back a tiny bit so that I don't come across as too crazy, but I hope this makes sense to a lot of you. Have an amazing day and I'll see you all soon. Yes.